Hello everyone!
I'm really passionate about software. All I wanted to do was computers. I went on to ETH Zurich Tech University in Switzerland, where I did a bachelor's in computer science. Went on to Hawaii for my master's. Taught the undergrads as well, something I really enjoy doing, teaching. After teaching, I went on to become a research assistant, and then I went on into the industry, actually back in Switzerland. I started working for a sensors company. I started noticing that this teaching that I did in Hawaii and a bunch of other occasions was something I got really passionate about, to the point where I started liking people more than the software. And I really enjoyed seeing how software was made through people.
You have a family, you have a business, you are an expert in software. Who is Bitcreed?
Bitcreed.us. The domain is a software consulting agency. We try to get people to make software.
Hello everyone, Giuseppe here with Unlike Marketing. Today we are on the third episode with a guest. We have an amazing guest here. It's Andreas, or Andy, and he's from Switzerland. He's passionate about the great outdoor software and people. He loves to build a software since he was teenager. But really, I don't want to be the one saying everything about him. I want him self-present, and I'm gonna give him the word right now. Hey Andreas, how are you? And tell about yourself.
All right. Hi, Giuseppe. Thanks so much for having me. It's an honor, pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone online as well. So, like you said, about me, my name's Andreas Brauchli. That would be the Swiss pronunciation. Here, I usually go by Andy. The funny twist about the last name is Brauchli in Switzerland is pretty hard to pronounce in English. So, usually I'll go with the closest possible word, which is broccoli, like the vegetable. But the coolest I've heard was Bruce Lee, so if you want to honor me with that, that's fine too. I actually did a little bit of Krav Maga for about a year. That was before I had kids, and now time is spent more wisely in different areas. So I guess that's one of the tightest resources anyway. But no, like you said, I'm really passionate about software. I guess when I was a kid, that was all I wanted to do. I mean, ever since I was maybe 12 years old, I got my first 286 computer. It had a turbo button, and you could go from 8 megahertz to 12 megahertz with that.
That was fancy.
Yeah, had to be careful not to overheat it. Yeah. But I guess that's when I really started noticing the passion for computers in general. It was a little bit of gaming at the beginning, but shifted away from that pretty quickly on, where I started to write software. And nowadays, I really regret that I didn't pay more attention to all the subjects in high school, which are really useful for life, I found out. Okay. All I wanted to do was computers. I went on to ETH Zurich, an elite tech university in Switzerland, where I did a bachelor's in computer science. I went on to Hawaii for my master's. Master's in surfing is the joke usually. But no, I did study. I taught the undergrads as well. That was something I really enjoy doing, teaching in general. Nice. Teaching undergrads, particularly who are passionate about the same subjects, was a really cool experience. After teaching, I went on to become a research assistant. So I worked on information security topics. And then I went on into the industry, actually back in Switzerland, starting to create with all that knowledge that you accumulated in your head after those years of studying. You want to put your horsepower down on the road. And so I started working for a sensors company, did a lot of integrations of temperature, humidity sensors, CO2 sensors, VOC sensors, pretty much anything you can sense the environment with, integration into mobile phones, embedded devices, IoT devices, all the buzzwords, you can get them from there. But it was really cool, but I started noticing that this teaching that I did in Hawaii and actually a bunch of other occasions as well was something I got really passionate about, and to the point where I started liking people more than the software.
Okay.
So I applied for a team lead opportunity and was selected for that job. And I really enjoyed seeing how software was made through people rather than software being made by brains. It became all about the people and teamwork, and that's also where I got a little bit into the agile methodologies. I worked as a Scrum Master actually before I was a team lead. That's where I developed this passion for people as well. And for those who don't know, agile is all about creating the process of creating virtually anything. I mean, you can create software using agile methodologies, but you can just as well run an Airbnb. It's probably not the most efficient way to do it, but it'll work. It'll keep people happy. It keeps you focused on what you're delivering, keeps the customers happy. And I think that's where, despite our different industries, we have quite the common overlap. Our goal in the end is to ensure customer satisfaction.
Amen.
If we have a happy customer, then we'll have a great product.
I actually, sorry interrupting you.
No, go for it.
I feel like in this time you have said so many things that they are great, and there are so many points we could stop and kind of unpack. One great things that I want to point out to people is like, this person has experience. Like, if you didn't understand until now, it's not like someone that has been in software for 1-2 years and just playing with software and leadership. Is a person that has spent pretty much his own life understanding more about software, but also how you can help people growing in their, we can say, in their passion, in their skills, how to use that, how to use in a team, how to put that together. And he did this through learning about Scrum Master. And he didn't say yet his business. It's called Bitcreed here in the US. Like, that's his business where he works from. I want you to introduce a bit your business, and then we're gonna go and pack a bit of different parts, because also you have a family, you have a business, you are an expert in software. We really need to understand how all this is connected. I want to unpack this and connect everything together for the people that are listening to us. But let's start first. Introduce your business, Bitcreed. Who is Bitcreed?
All right, thanks for that opportunity. I always love talking about my business, obviously. Bitcreed, bitcreed.us, the domain is a software consulting agency where pretty much picks right up from where I left before. We try to make software. We try to get people to make software. That's the core business. And now there's different aspects to that. One is the actual engineering, the creation of the software, where you need the experience of having created software, be it an app, be it a backend, be it an embedded component. It's all Lego blocks, if you wish, and putting those together in the end to have a satisfactory solution to the customer. But that's not the only aspect of it. Usually, as soon as software becomes bigger than 1 or 2 screens in the app or 1 or 2 sites on a website, you need decent project management. And project management is, I would say, the overarching topic of Bitcreed, where we really draw from our experience in the software industry to kind of create this construct that the customer wants, to bring in our expertise for what are the best approaches to making software. What engineers do you need? How many engineers do you need? Does your budget or your timeline dictate further constraints on your projects? And when you start building up through those constraints, then you're basically in the project management world, where it is about getting the result that the customer wants together with all the other environment variables that you have. And that's what Bitcreed is about. Another component is finding the actual engineers. Okay. And that would be more in the recruiting area, I would say, where we also enable companies to assess candidates, for instance, that they're looking for in their companies. Would they be a good fit on a technical level? Would they be a good fit on a social level, on a team interaction level? Can this person bring innovation? Can this person bring creativity and joy to a team? Because many people, when they're looking for a software engineer, they're just like looking at a sheet of paper that claims to be this person's experience. And experience and paper sheets usually just don't go so well together, as you've probably found out yourself. And so we'll help business making those decisions as well. And if you put everything together, then it comes back to this first sentence that it says we're all about creating software. So with the guys, with the technology, and in the end also with the budget.
Yeah, that's good. And I think place where I would like to take some time to make people think about it is the project management part, because people think that everyone can be a leader or everyone knows how to be an effective leader, but it's not true. Like, you can learn how to be effective leader, that's totally true, but it's not for everyone. There is not everyone has the characteristic, the character, the personality to do that, and we need to understand how. And we need to be able to discern and find that person that is able to do it, and use his skill set and use that person. Because it's not, there are a lot of software around here, like for example Scrum. Now there are so many other software that came out after that use the same approach of agile, the same agile approach, but they are not anymore Atlas. They are a different company name. Yeah. But in the end, the reality is, like, even if you have a software, if you don't have a person that has the mindset of people, or like how to teach people, how to keep people accountable on the team for the project, and motivate them, like, you're not gonna get anywhere. Even if you're totally the most precise person, you know how to write down on Scrum and things, and you know how to use the software and put the things there, doesn't mean that you're going to have an effective team, or you're going to be able to lead an effective team. There is a lot more soft skill behind there.
Oh yeah, big time.
That people, they don't think about it. They're just looking at, like, oh, this person knows how to program. He has so many experience. He will know how to use this, to work with this team. No, it doesn't mean if you have hard skill, like software programming and using software, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have soft skill, that it's team management, motivational, encouraging, people skill, like be able to communication skill. That's are not connected. And I want, like, from you to unpack that and to say, hey, in my side, I noticed there is this. So, like, how did you learn these characteristics? What was an experience that you can share with people that showed you that even if you understood the software, even if you understood you had the skill in the software, but the team part, when you start to do that, there was something that happened that taught you a great, I would say, lesson.
Yeah. Well, the only way to learn, I feel like, is through mistakes, and so I'm very grateful for all the mistakes I've made, and also that I've been allowed to make. The companies I worked for previously, before my own company, have always been very generous on the mistake-making side, and that requires what I would say is the most essential trait that I'm looking for in any person that I'll hire, and that is how forgiving are they? Because if you have an environment that is not forgiving, people will not be able to make mistakes. They'll try to hide their mistakes. They'll try to do all sorts of crazy stuff to finger point or whatever. If you live in an environment where you can make mistakes, that's when you'll be most effective at learning. And in projects, I would say one of the most common things I've seen is teams have hired really smart people that they were 2 steps ahead of the rest of the team, always in their thinking, in their acts as well. And if you give that person a task, they'll be super good at it, at executing it, at least typically. But you'll never be able to pass it on from that person to anyone else, because people will not understand the thoughts that went into that software. It's going to be too advanced in some sense for the rest of the team to catch up to. And so you're kind of stuck with this one-person team on this particular feature, project, app, whatever it was that you tasked them with. And they're going to be great at it until the point comes where it just becomes too big for them. And that varies greatly based on their ability, on how much this is. I've seen single persons really handling big projects on their own. But the problem with one person is always, it's called the bus factor. Okay. It's how big is the impact on your project if this person gets hit by a bus and is just not here anymore from one day to the next. Let's say they don't die, but just are in the hospital. Wishing them all the best.
But you have lost...
you've lost your whole team in one person. And if you have 3 people that can work smoothly in a team working together, you always have this dynamic that you won't find in the single person. They're all going to be slower. Maybe even all 3 together will be slower than this one highly productive person. But you can exchange them, you can grow them. It becomes a much more dynamic team, flexible team. And so in the long term, I feel like it's much better to highlight all those social values in a team, have a team that works together rather than just having highly disciplined single individuals. Those lone wolf kind of personalities, they're great for meeting a deadline, for getting a prototype out, but otherwise it'll always be like sand in your wheels. So
okay,
I guess that's one of the experiences I like sharing.
Wow, that's amazing. And for people that didn't hear that part, I feel like I love when you say you need to be forgiving of yourself or the other person. And I'm like, whoa, that's a big characteristic, not just on the software development on the team, is a big characteristic of life. Like how we make mistakes every day, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, we make mistakes even while we sleep, because sometimes we might be eating something wrong and we have we don't have a great sleep time. And we might get mad and everything, but the reality is like, learn from the mistakes you made, forgive yourself, but learn from it, obviously.
I really like that you pointed that out, because I didn't mention that. Forgive yourself. That's a big one as well, because you can't move on as a leader either. I mean, I think it's not just as a leader. It applies to anyone, but you just can't move on if you can't also accept that you've made mistakes and get over them, even if you didn't get a chance to rectify your mistakes in some instances.
100%, yeah. And I was saying, like, marketing is the same. I feel like every time people, they jump in marketing, they believe that they search for promises. They search for someone promise them that I'm going to run this ad, that you're going to make this money. And there is no promises in marketing. There is no promise in software development. There is no promise anywhere. Like, it's a lot of time there is mistakes that we make. A good marketing team is a marketing team that know how to use that mistakes, or recreate a new strategy, build up and keep moving forward and making a better step next time, and don't do the same mistakes. Same thing with software, same thing we're having. And that's, I think, one things I use in my business is I use the same idea of software, because for people that have seen my previous podcast when I was sharing about myself, my background is electronic engineering.
Right.
I use agile when I was working for other company, the Scrum and everything. I never
That's awesome.
use it. Yeah, I use it but was never. I always find good, but again, I also learned that the software itself, it's useless if the person that use it doesn't understand what teamwork means, or how to be a real leader. I mean, you can. I had 2 or 3 managers working over me, and and they were all different. Like there were one person that was amazing how he was using agile. He was always I like that he was using agile to actually have us every at the end of each month we were doing like auto how I say
Retrospective.
Introspective, exactly. Like we were just telling ourselves how I felt the project is going, or what I can do better, and I think that one was so much. And then there was another manager that would do that every 6 months or a year, and I was like, it's pretty useless after 6 months. I mean, like it's too late.
Right.
I think that one that was doing every month,
Yeah.
every month was more making sense of the use of that part, because it literally helped us to have a conversation where he was going through and checking, okay, how I can help you since you have this problem, how me, leader, manager, I can help you to get over that. But like if you wait 6 months for me to tell you that I was going through this, and it's been 6 months me going through the same problem, it's a bit late. It's like, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, you can still get through it, but you will notice that there is a lot of lost on the back end of
But
this.
even 1 month, I feel like that's super long. I know that Scrum works with anything from like Scrum cycles of 1 week through 4 weeks. That'd be a month.
Yeah.
I've never seen a team do 4 week cycles, so it's actually quite interesting to hear that.
Yeah, they I mean, as I say, I had 3 different managers, and then I had a manager that he was doing like weekly cycle.
Yeah.
But it was kind of funny things of like having different manager mindset to weigh soft skill, the person, and that's where it comes to my idea. Even the marketing side, you need to understand what type of people you're putting in. Is a person that comes like does a cycle weekly? Is the person that does marketing does a monthly cycle? It does a 3-month cycle? How often he get back to you, does report, connect with you. We always speak about number, ROI, ROIS and everything, but like, is that really important in the long run if there is no communication? How do you really know if you even see that you're, let's say you have an ROI that's 200%. Sounds awesome, but without communication, or if it's all based in one person, if that person is gone, your ROI goes to 0 in 1 day.
Okay, yeah.
Kind of like same pace with software. You need a team. You need to have a leader, someone that is able to communicate. And I was amazing that you touched that point, because I really think it's important in a bit. And one other side that I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you heard about it or you use it, like the lean process is used in manufacturing mostly.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Do you have a connection you have ever seen in software about that type of the way the lean process work? And also, if you know it, like, can you share with people what is the lean process, how you use it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have worked a little bit with lean. I won't claim to be an expert. I think about half a year or so where I've touched on the subject, where I started looking into it a little bit. And it was a big corporation that basically understood the value of lean and tried to push it back into the lower levels, into the extremities of the teams, if you so wish, to kind of implement more of that lean process. And the interesting thing is, my team was doing agile. It wasn't exactly Scrum. I am a certified Scrum Master. I understand Scrum, but I also feel like it's not the only agile framework out there, and there's different frameworks. I'm not super religious about having to implement Scrum as the only agile methodology. I just wanted to put that out there. And so we were basically doing our agile thing, which was pretty close to Scrum with Kanban. And then we had suddenly all those lean ideologies coming in, which were not contrary to Scrum, but we needed to fulfill this corporation's lean requirements, which again, if you look at it, it was about a checklist. They wanted to see that everyone used lean, but they didn't really understand what lean was about. This this empowering people and exactly leaning down the whole company. I think they kind of missed the point there. So I went on to be part of the lean team to kind of explain them that our agile methodology is in line with what they're doing. And in this way, I think we were able to kind of marry the enterprise's lean goals, lean requirements, if you so wish, and still keep our workflow without impediments from the outside. And so from there, I understood a little bit of lean, and I don't have anything against it. I don't think I would use lean for a software project myself, but for a company, it's definitely something to look at in the light of how can we generally get better. So yeah,
that's great. I wanted to have your feedback because same things. I use it like in the company. I use agile methodology. Obviously, not the original Scrum type, but each company has its own way to implement agile. Also, because it was working more as a test engineer on hardware and software together. It was not just software. Then there are like some different steps to go through. But the idea was the ideology behind was the same. And then later on, when I started my business, I actually went in learning about more the lean process. And honestly, while I was reading that, I was like, this lean process is nothing else than pretty much agile, just implemented for manufacturing company. Was more because the original one they did was Toyota. If I remember right, was the one that they came out with the lean process. I don't want to.
I think that was Kanban.
Kanban was the original one when with the lean process?
Toyota used,
okay.
with serializing every single step and basically introducing a limit on one step. So in this one particular step, you cannot have more than 3 work in progress items.
Yeah.
If you do have that, then you need to move back. And lean also has this
same.
I think the overarching goal of lean is to just reduce waste. That's exactly. Like the lean motto.
And also, it's mostly connected to the fact that we were saying before, forgiving your mistakes, because there is always the idea like trying to understand the customer right away and trying to perfection everything in once before we show to the customer again, where the lean process says, no, you don't try to focus and trying to make everything perfect from things, create like a minimum value product, MVP we call, show to the clients, get feedback, and then make it better. And then you save time, because most of the time it's proved that we don't understand the client right away. We don't really understand everything that the client wants right away. Then for us going through all the process and create the full software or the full product or the full and whenever service we need, and then just going at the end to the client, and then he doesn't like anything, doesn't like the color is not the right one, the look is not the right one, then you have to start again, and you have wasted like 6 months, where the MVP takes maybe 1 month, you get feedback, and then is another month, second feedback, another month, third feedback, and then in 5 months you are done, and you have finished the thing. So.
I mean, there's different types of customers there as well. I have some customers, the budget is their highest goal, and then you definitely want to do something like show early prototypes to customers, get feedback on that, so as not to go in the wrong development direction, because anything that you have to go back is basically thrown away work. And then you can start from wherever you left off before you went on that sidetrack. But I do have some customers that, interestingly enough, they'd rather want to see an idea implemented, so they can play with it. And even if I tell them, look, that's going to cost you 3, 4, 12, whatever amount of hours of work, they'll be like, just give me both options so I can evaluate them. And for them, it's not about the price, but really about seeing like, how does it look like? How does it feel like when it's in even a somewhat polished state? And if that's what the customer wants and he does have the time for that, then Absolutely. Personally, I think I'm more of in the middle of those two extremities. I like prototypes. I like fast iterations, but they can't look sloppy. So it has to be a product that's somewhat presentable. What is not there needs to be there enough that you can have a pretty clear idea of what it would look like or what it would feel like if you were to fully implement those areas. So just to say, different people, different goals.
I agree with that. I'm more on the kind of middle side where mostly in website, one things we always do with people, we create mock-ups. That takes a lot of less time to create a mock-up. You create with Adobe. It's so easy. But fully created with colors, with also the right picture in a way that at least we don't just give. Sometimes mock-ups that I've seen before.
So a high-end prototype.
Yeah, they're just giving like the square. Oh, this is the square where go a picture, the
square,
the placeholder, and I'm like, that's not really. You don't really are giving an idea of what would be there. You know, like it's still black and white. There is nothing there. Like, and because a lot of time, mostly what we notice people coming back is for colors. Colors are a big thing in the people. The right picture and the right position is a big thing. Then doing a mock-up that is a bit higher hand with already the picture, the service position and in different way with the text and everything, like you can really get better feedback and more specific feedback, detailed feedback from the client than just do this version that's just black and white with squares. That is like more a mapping of where you want that hybrid. I totally agree with you. It's better when you give up still a mock-up, still like a prototype, but high-end prototype.
Right. Yeah.
That show the functionality, show how really will be looking at the end, even if it's not functional yet.
Yeah.
The 100%. I'm totally with that. And I mean. Another things that actually I didn't say before, that it's kind of fun because for people that have seen my video before, I presented myself and know kind of like my story, but I also was living in Switzerland. That's probably how we start to conversate. The first time we met each other, I was like, oh, where are you from, Switzerland? Zurich. Oh, I was living close to Zurich in betting, and it was like, oh, that's funny. For people that might ask, do you speak German? No, we don't speak German. Ich kann ein bisschen Deutsch sprechen, aber ich nicht meine erste sprechen.
That's pretty good already. So if I may translate for your audience, he just said I can speak a little bit of German, but it's not my main language or my primary tongue. So pretty good. Good job.
Thank you very much. Yes, I have some of that by living in Switzerland. Obviously, if you live in towns, people they don't gonna accept you speaking English. They're gonna look at you. I know what are you saying, but you'd have to say in German. But that's funny. Kind of like we don't really speak. I should probably speak a bit of German with you, that just to keep my German somewhere acceptable.
So let me ask you a question. How do the Swiss mountains compare to the Coloradan Rocky Mountains?
You want really a fight here. Now people are going to comment and be like, how dare you? I love the Swiss mountains a lot more. There's and the idea, I can explain why. One, because for me, the Colorado mountain, they look like just giant hills. I feel like there is some good mountains. I have been in mountains that are like a bit more challenging to hike and everything. But the majority of the high mountains, for example, we are close to Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak, literally people can drive up there. There is no such things in Switzerland like driving up the peak of a mountain. Like the Alps are made different. I think mountains that I like here in the US that are similar to the Alps, for people that might be able to understand what I'm talking about if you've never been in Europe, is Washington State mountain. They're a lot similar. There are more like steep type of mountains where there is like it's
more jagged cliffs.
Exactly, jagged cliffs. You have to. It's more challenging getting there. Like they don't tell everyone to trying to walk up there. You need to have a certain level of hiking, not fear of height. There are that type of challenge, and sometimes it's funny because. And I don't know how to do the conversion, but you have mountains in Switzerland that they're like 2,000 meters high. That's what is
6,000 feet.
6,000 feet, and they're the most challenging things in the world.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, Jesus, how I can get up there? And you have to do some type of like ice climbing with peak. It's called like pecan.
Ice picks.
Ice peaks and stuff. I'm like, you can get here is what 16,000? No, 14,000, and you can just drive with your car there.
Yep. Well, let me tell you that I love the mountains here.
Okay.
Because there's just enough space for everyone. In Switzerland, there's no space. So no matter where you go, there's always different people. And I've told you I love people, but I also love just being me, myself, and I out in the nature. I like that. And that's why I fell in love with Colorado here. It's just space.
I mean, that's 100% sure. I mean, someone asking me like, what is the bigger difference from Europe to the US, the side where you are in Colorado, no? And the biggest difference is that I was driving with a car and I saw like a big advertisement saying that they're selling, I think it was about 250, 300,000 acres of land. And in the beginning when I read that, I was like, what? How much is 300,000 acres? And then I went on the internet and I saw that it's pretty much the size of Rome. How like the land of Rome is there. I was like, wait, you can just see like boldly say like, hey, I'm selling you Rome. Like, hey, come here. You can buy like a city land. You can build your own city here. Like, do you want it? You can get 2 lakes, a lot of animals going around. I was like, geez, that's big. That's really big. Like, you cannot find that in Europe. There's no way to go around and find like, oh yeah, let me sell you like Zurich. That's you can buy it all the size of Zurich. Like that's I think was the
at an affordable price.
I know exactly. That's also it's like you can really buy. I mean, it's in the middle of nowhere, but
yeah,
that's I think was my real. And again, distance for everything. You need a car. People in Europe they don't really. And they always make fun of US Americans, say like, oh, you always take a car for doing everything. But honestly, sometimes you need a car. Like your grocery store can be like 30 minutes.
God bless America. I love my car.
Yeah. But I mean, I liked when I was able to walk to grocery store. For example, now I live down. You live up here in the hill, like in Woodland Park. I live down in the city. Already in the city, I'm able to walk to the grocery store. It's just 5 minutes walking, 10 minutes walking. But yeah, if you live in like here, like I mean, yeah, you can walk an hour and get to the grocery store. Like if you have time, yeah, you can do it. But at the end of the day, there is a real distance problem in the US. Mostly on the west side, it's not the same. East and west, it's a bit different. But on the west side, everything is huge. Right. It's ginormous. Like you can, for just cross a state, you have to drive for 9 hours. From side to side.
Well, I remember the first time I was in New York. Actually, that was the first time I came to the States. And I looked at a map and I was like, oh, yeah, easy. You can walk there. And I started realizing how huge a block was and just how long it takes you to walk 3 blocks. Yep. And, that was an interesting experience. And I guess I must have fallen in love with America. I keep coming back.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. I think has so many pros and cons. I think there are some things that I miss about Italy because I'm originally from Italy. Probably the major one is food, but but at the same time, yeah, there is so many. It's true that it's the land of opportunities. There is so many opportunities here. Like there are so many things you can do, so many things you can try to do. And even in their flaws, maybe the government, people can speak against the government and stuff like that. No government is perfect. There's none in the world that I'll be like, hey, that's the best government ever. Like it. No, it's not true. Every government has its flaws. And even with its flaws, I feel like there is still a lot of value here in the US. There is a lot of good things that are like great people. Even for us, we came both for Caris. Like for you was your fourth time in the US, but we came here for Caris, and that's how we also know each other. Kind of like came from Caris. That's a Bible college, and honestly, the fact that here in US people has freedom to just put a big ad saying Jesus loves you, you almost never find that in Europe.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
There is one campaign that I think puts Bible verses all across Switzerland, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the rest of Europe as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be in Germany as well.
Okay.
So you do see it, but just, I would say, separation of state and religion has been taken to a level where it's pretty much you're not allowed to talk about your faith. It's not socially acceptable anymore.
Mm.
And I don't think that ever was the intent of separating church and state. That was purely keeping state business,
Mm-hmm.
and church business.
Yeah.
But the individual's liberties is something that was always meant to be respected and lived out as well. I think no matter what country's constitution you read, you find those remnants in there if you look for them. And in the US, that is definitely something that I value. That doesn't mean that I need to go and tell everyone I meet in the streets about Jesus, or that we can't be friends if they have different aspects of life. I've seen many people's like one particular instance is one of the most upright guys I've met. He was a Muslim, a devout Muslim, and we are great friends because we understand that it's not about us. There is a creator that made us, that put us here, and ultimately we can live our lives to fulfill a purpose higher than just making money. It makes me much happier just to see happy people around me. So, yeah.
No, I like that, and that's I think what is lost, because I think in Europe they're trying to say that everyone is has the freedom to say whatever they want and they can share whatever they want, but it's not really true. There is like things that can be shared and things that like if you share you're like, oh, you're just trying to get your agenda. I'm like, it's not everyone trying to get his own agenda. I mean, like, if you share about your belief, even if they're not religious, but they're like, I don't know, about business, marketing, you're still pushing your agenda at the end of the day. But now just because it's religious connected and it's specific Christian connected, that's not okay. I cannot have a post on my house, in front of my house, something saying like Jesus love you. I cannot have a cross in my place because it's offending someone, but like that person can have his on, I don't know, Buddha or whatever in his house, and that's fine.
That's
like,
okay. Yeah.
That's okay.
Oh, well.
Like, I think freedom is for everyone. And like, if you want your freedom, you have to let me have my freedom to think. And again, we are not here to impose anyone. Like, there is this mentality that just because I'm Christian means that I'm trying to change you or to turn you around. It's not my job at the end of the day. Like, even the Bible say that's God's job to do that. All I do is living my life in Christ, showing Christ in my life, and basing everything in my act. Like, my business is ethically based on Christ's words.
Yeah.
Like, I do everything to the glory of God. You do probably the same in your business. And then if you go on my website, you will see that all I do marketing is on God. Like, it's only God way marketing. Why I use that word? Because I don't want to offend anyone when they come to me and tell me like, hey, can you advertise this or can you market this, and it's a product that it's against my belief. I want them to know before they even contact me, hey, you can read on my website right there. I just told you that that's my belief. That's where I live for. I don't feel okay on promoting something that's against my belief. And at the same time, I met other people in the marketing where they're like not believer, not Christian. They have integrity. Yeah, they have some type of integrity. They're good people. I like them to speak. But at the same time, they told me most of the time, it's like, yeah, I don't work with ministry, most Christian ministry, because I don't really believe what they're saying. Then I don't know how to market for them. You know, and that's fine. That's choosing the type of thing that no one should get offended for that. People, they should just like chill out and be like, okay, yeah, you're gonna find another
partner. Yeah.
Exactly. There are so many marketing companies. Why you need to get on me or to get on your business? Why just because you don't want to promote their agenda or their beliefs or like even the product. Sometimes product that people has is like, I cannot really connect with your product. There is no connection there. I don't really know how to promote your product because I don't even found for myself useful.
So you also pick your customers then?
Yeah, you need to pick your I think like it's important, everyone always say it's important to say no to know to who you say
Yeah.
you want to say no. I do not waste your time. Don't
Right.
waste their time most of the time. And I don't want them to feel like, oh, I'm going through all these steps. At the end of the day, I would be like, oh no, I'm not doing. We're not gonna do anything, and
Yeah.
they just waste their time. I'm not in the game, and I don't know what is about you. Tell me how you approach this. What is your approach?
Yeah, no, I appreciate any and every single one of my customers, no matter what their background may be. But yeah, I will also not be compelled to creating a product that goes against my beliefs, and especially now with all this woke ideology coming up, I feel like that it's really harming businesses. Constraints are being put on businesses that are not rational anymore. And at that point, I also feel like I think you'll be happier with someone else fulfilling your needs. But in general, I'm a very open person, and I can find myself working with many types of personalities. But no, I think it's important to have your beliefs, and yeah, I have mine too.
Yeah, that's and one thing is like you use the word, and I want to read that from vocabulary because like I'm a big thing against that because there is it's being used right now in the Christian environment in a way that's not what was meant to. And the word work, like use that, and I understand how Christian they use it, but at the same time I feel like sometimes it's misunderstood outside because work in itself is just like be well informed. Like if you're trying to find the meaning of work, the meaning in the dictionary is just well informed or aware. That's what, and it's like people search of knowledge. That's our like people that are woke. What happened, and I want that to make for example, like it's also say it's a common person way of saying I'm up and I see what's going on. You know, like it's like be aware of what's going on around you. It means be woke.
Okay.
That's how it was originally used and actually came from was actually introduced by the black community in the United States. That's how the history comes because they wanted to create awareness of what was going on in the US against the black community when there was slavery, they were not treated right and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they create that word. They used that word. But lately it has been used now in the Christian world, and I like in this podcast I want to be, for me it's really important people understand in this case what is used for. When you use the word work, it's used for anything that's against the knowledge, whatever the people that is push knowledge that is against the knowledge of God. That's how we express work. In the Christian community, because sometimes I can ask you, like I went around asking people, when you say work, what do you mean work? Just give me the meaning of work, and they go through like, I can ask you like what do you think is the meaning of work? Like when you say work company, what work project or things, what do you think with that word is connected?
Well, for me it's and it doesn't go back to any definition of the word. It's I guess just out of the context how I got to learn the word. Ultra liberal policies, and liberal in the sense of truth is not related to facts anymore. They're completely detached, and to a point where it gets like religious. And that's something I can't agree on as an engineer. There are certain facts of life that I won't go around, and that's been established for thousands of years, like the value of a family, the value of kids, the value of husband and wife as an entity. And if you want to start deconstructing that, then do it in a society that's not been based on an understanding of a godly world.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I like. I want to make sure that people understand, because as I say, it's too much used right now, that word, and it's abused.
Right.
Where we got to abuse it in a way that like some things I'm like it's not even connected, you know, as there is not, because like I can be Christ woke. Christ means Christ aware. like walk means aware. Just you can be Christ walk, we can be Bible walk, means like aware or like well aware of the Bible, well aware of Christ.
Okay, not sure I'd use the word in that.
Yeah, because the problem is it's being contaminated and connected to certain things. For example, the same things happen with the rainbow. Like the rainbow is a beautiful thing, but now it's connected to something different, and they kind of like take possession of that and they brand it to connect to a certain type of movement. Where like the rainbow was part of no movement. The rainbow is a part of like a beautiful nature thing. First read about rainbow was in the Bible. Was one of the way that
covenant between man and God.
Was one of the covenant. I'm like, we just like how I say like we.
Well, it's a perversion of that symbol.
Yeah, we perverted and we used so many times. People use so many times in the wrong way that now it became. All the time we think about that, we just think about that sphere thing. Same things with work, like it was created for good use, as a lot of things has been created for good, and then the wrong people, wrong things, they take it and they start to use for not the real meaning. And now is every time someone think about that is connected to the not real the meaning of the word, but like something. And that's why I have a T-shirt that actually I bought a T-shirt where it's like I am woke, and then in the back is like for Christ. Because I kind of like, for me, it's making fun of like, because I want to bring back the reality of woke, because God wants us to be woke. We need to be woke, actually. We need to be aware of what's going on in the world. We need to be aware of what Jesus says. Knowledge is part of. We need to be knowledgeable. We need to be aware, but like aware of what is good and what is bad.
Definitely.
For God. That's where the things where like now the work is like always connect to be pushing bad stuff, trying to push in false doctrine against true doctrine. But I wanted just to touch that topic because I think we need to give clarity of people on things, and I wanted to for the one follow me, I want to show them that actually it's not wrong. Be open-minded, and understand the Bible. But now
I want to be open, and I feel like that's the only way you'll be able to ever get to the bottom of any issues in life. If you're open to analyzing them, I guess that's where our engineering background comes in as well. Like sometimes it's like I can't let go of a problem before I understood it, and many of those modern day woke problems, I see like the science behind it is more religious than science.
Yep. Again, yeah. I mean, and that's come to the next question. That's like, okay, you say you're a believer and you have God, and people they always trying to use science against God. I'm like, where are you getting this? Literally, science is the main things that showing that God exists. But I don't want to be the one saying it. I want to have other people showing us, like with a background like your software engineer, where everything need to be logic and specific and everything has a structure. How do you see God in all of this? Where you see God playing a part of all of this?
Well, we are made in God's image. God created, and therefore I can create. That's where I derive my creativity from. You can't make nothing. You can't make something out of nothing, which is, in my opinion, and I understand if there's different viewpoints on that, but it makes more sense for there to be a God, be it the God that I believe in, or something else, but just the world appearing out of nothing. Don't tell me that's scientific, because you can build your proof on anything if your axiom at the bottom is wrong. And that's like creating something out of nothing. Then it doesn't matter what you were able to derive from. It's still wrong. And in that sense, I feel empowered in my belief that there is a God. And I personally have a relationship with my God, which makes me feel and know for sure, for certain, that it's not just any God. It's this God. the God that sent his only son to die on the cross for me. This is like the ultimate show of love, and that is just what I strive to every day, because how I have been loved, how I have been forgiven from all my mistakes, that I find it so easy to forgive others, and I think that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, I'm on the same side. I feel like the more I look at science, the more I'm like, there's no way. And even I was engineer before I was a believer, and I was working with electricity, and people always say like, how do you believe something you cannot see? Man, you're using a phone. Like you're using a phone, like you don't see anything of what's going on and what's happening in the air while you are able to make calls. Then that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. Like there is nothing. You cannot perceive the electric waves. You cannot see electric waves. You cannot feel electric waves. You cannot do anything of this. And you're telling me like, you cannot see God. How you can believe that? Okay, how do you believe that your phone can make calls? Just because you saw that make calls, then I can always argue with you. Then actually, no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't make calls. Like we can always go back and forth, argue on what you can see, you cannot see.
Well, even there, you can take a scientific approach and say, like, is there a way we can visualize that? Mm-hmm. Maybe you can't see electricity, but you can see the effects thereof. You can use a light bulb to visualize it. You can use gases in those fluorescent tubes to kind of light up when there's tension. And just as there is that in faith, I see exactly just as many signs that this is all true. Miracles is just one of those manifestations. Now, whether you believe that's some kind of a magical self-healing, whatever, voodoo stuff, or it's derived directly from the power of God, that's one thing. But if I look at the Bible and the number of promises that have been made, the number of prophecies about Jesus, like just the chance that 120 or however many prophecies there are about Jesus were fulfilled is just 2 to the power of 120. That's such a big number. Yep. It's mathematically much more solid than anything else. That just becomes a fact, a given. But still, I think that's also one of the beauties of the Christian faith. God gave free will to man, and he also put that ambiguity into the Bible, into his word, that if someone just doesn't want to believe it, then they'll find all sorts of reasons to not want to believe it. And at the same time, it doesn't require someone with extraordinary IQ, intelligence skills to be able to understand it. It's so easy that, no offense, but the Bible always uses farmers as an example and farming parables, because that's what every single person could relate to and still can relate to. And so I feel like it's a miracle in itself, the Word of God, and I love it. I love digging into it. There's just so much to discover there, and I feel like I'll never get to the bottom of it, and yet I always discover more and more.
Yeah, that's I love it. Yeah, it's a bit. I like that how you express it on your side, and that's kind of like show you how also your relationship with God, where it comes from, how it's based. Because I think the same things actually. I like to follow, since I like science and I like to follow ways, and there are like neuropathic people, I don't know, neurology. Anyway, people that studied the neurism, like the neural system, and they found that people, they scanned the mind of people with a belief, with God belief, and they found that there is activity inside the brain that happens when you have a belief. That they cannot understand where them come from, but there is a higher activity in your brain and things going on in your brain that for people that are not believe, that area is kind of dead. And that was kind of something that people, they could not understand. And then there is also the fact that any person that I know that was in searching of truth, Like Einstein, for example. Einstein is a genius, searching for the truth, searching to explain anything in the world, searching to explain that God doesn't exist. He ended up saying God exists. There's no way for me to, more I go in depth of trying to say like God doesn't exist, and more I ended up showing and like find fact about God existence.
Right.
Same with Jordan Peterson, that's someone more actual. I feel like his changes, like I like to follow him and how he moved from I actually didn't believe in God, but like he was always pushing the truth. He was trying always to push the truth in reality and fight against this new
Okay, I'm not
ideology.
familiar with him.
It's a psychologist. It's
Okay.
like it's a great person actually. He wrote also explanation of Exodus and Genesis through the psychology mind, like as a psychologist, how connected.
Okay.
And it was pretty cool. It's on YouTube. But yeah, he ended up following so much the path of trying to explain the truth and things happening that he ended up saying like, hey, I cannot tell people God doesn't exist or Jesus doesn't exist. It's literally like, I'm there, like I cannot tell people like, oh, that's not true, that's a fake. Like there are too many facts and the truth is too much. And then also the fact that Jesus was bold enough to call himself the truth. That in itself has to be the truth, because if the truth is one and he called himself truth and no one else did, then has to be him the truth. Like there is no. But we can go. I think probably like you can go forever with this topic. But I want to take your time. I want to take your mind about that, because we have people that follow us that they are science based like us. They have a mindset that is more logic, and they want to try to explain everything happen around you, and they don't want just to believe that it's someone up there making things happen. And I wanted to show them that actually, if you try and really to explain all of these things, you're gonna get to a place where you have to kind of like convince yourself that there is a creator, there is a higher mind, someone that is not human being, because we are not capable to create that level of complexity that's the universe.
Right.
I need to be someone higher than us to be able to create that that level of combat. It cannot be nothing. Like you can, if you leave a room, a house with nothing, and you do nothing to the room, it's not gonna get better. It's gonna deteriorate and destroy. Like nothing create only destroy things. Doesn't create
entropy,
things.
chaos increases.
Exactly. That's I think like. Will bless a lot of people that they will listen to us to kind of like start to think that there is God in everything, and you can explain things only if you really accept God at the end. If you want to get on the truth, if you want to start to be blind and be like, I don't want to explain these things, I'm just gonna say it doesn't exist, then you can go through that route and you're free. We're gonna love you. God is gonna love you.
That's your right, yeah.
It's like doesn't matter. Like on all this we're speaking about, we still love people. We love everyone. We are not here to point a finger on you. Like it's your choice of life. It's our choice of life. We need to respect each other, and but obviously, like each one of us is gonna keep moving on our beliefs and keep us stay integrated. I want to move kind of like now our focus on marketing. I want to kind of like we spoke about something about agile, how that can be. I was saying like how you played for software I can use for marketing, but my real question right now would be since you have been working for a company as an employee and also having your own company, what is your experience with marketing? What have you learned during this year? What are some myths that you have heard about marketing that you find out that are myths that you had to break, or some ideology you had about marketing that you had to break to be able to do better?
That's, I would say, one of the toughest questions for me, because marketing is definitely not my strength, not an area that I actively seek to get better in. I guess I should. But in general, I feel like it's a very powerful tool, especially if you want to grow. How do you find more business? And that's always about presenting yourself, which is exactly how I understand marketing. It's a way of suggesting your product's value, to other people, or your services value to other people, and kind of showing them or making apparent that the value that they're getting is higher than the money that they're paying. So it's a transaction. But generally, in terms of marketing, I can't say that I've been too much involved. I mean, especially online marketing, I haven't been doing too much of that. I try to go more by word of mouth. It's trust-based business. I pick my clients also based on trust. If it looks like someone is just about getting the cheapest deal, then I'll tell them, look, you'll probably be happier if you just look for a company in India or whatever part of the world offers the cheapest deals. Right. But at least that's my understanding of marketing. Now I'm going to let you tell me what I'm doing wrong, because that's the way I'm going to learn it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to tell anyone, but the idea of this podcast is to have like to show people the side of entrepreneur, business owner about marketing, and not just like expert, because we're going to always promote marketing. You know, we make money to that. We live, like, our bread comes through doing marketing. We're not gonna go against it's kind of like belief. We believe market needs. That's why we sell marketing. We do marketing.
And I know I've asked you the question, like, what is better, like Facebook or Twitter or Google Ads, and you've given me a very good answer to that. So that's just one aspect of marketing. But,
I forgot the answer. It's like, hey, no, I don't remember. Like, I don't remember what answer I gave you. But like, honestly, yeah, that's something that I think it's really important in marketing. People they think that one way fits for all, like one service fits for all. But the reality is, like, what is your budget? What is your goal? Where are you going with this? And I was kind of like going through. Also understanding the difference between bad branding and good branding, because the problem with marketing is that a lot of people think I can just try things, but trying things creates bad branding. Means that your brand is going to lose money, is going to lose quality if you do bad things. Sometimes it's better don't do nothing than just like
to do
really
the wrong thing.
And the wrong thing.
Can you elaborate on that? What could I do wrong?
Wrong thing, for example, like for a brand is, I make this example easy. Bud Light, okay? Bud Light did exactly that.
I already got the answer.
Exactly. What Bud Light did was create this advertisement with the lady that's a transsexual, actually, person, a trans person, and the advertisement was great. There's nothing wrong in the advertisement. The advertisement got a ton of views. As an ROI on the views, probably was super high. The only problem is the effect of that regarding his brand was not good, because when we speak about branding, people tend to say branding is connected to the color, the logo. Now that are like the cutie stuff, but the real way you measure brand is like how much your brand helps you, what effect your brand creates on your sales. Mm-hmm. If you can sell the same things for a higher price than your competitor, means that your brand is stronger than your competitor. That's how you measure branding. Right. In their case, doing that put the value of their business down, where they lost a ton of money. Doesn't mean they make some money. Probably yes. There was probably a community of people that loved it and they invested money because there is a community that follow that type of things. But the majority of people that drink beers are men. Then a majority of men, they are not interested in seeing that. That means that at the end of the day, they lost it. Then what they did, they went and they actually did exactly the same similar advertisement with a UFC fighter, and I think it was like an NFL player. I don't remember, but anyway, they did too, and they put a real man on
Play
it.
to the manly image.
Exactly, put real manly image, and they had, that was great advertisement, same number on the advertisement side, but also a lot better number on the branding side. They broke, like they were like, whoa. I mean, that's where the branding was good, and where branding things. Same things with your example. Like, you have to understand to who you're messaging going. You know, who are you touching, who are you connecting with, and if you do an advertise that is offensive to that people, that's a bad branding. The value of your brand is gonna go down. Now, if you thought that you could sell your package for 5K, now you have to sell for 2K, maybe, right. And maybe you get someone because you break your brand.
Yeah. Well, that was a very powerful example. Thank you.
That's kind of like things when people, they have to understand, like, there is something called bad. It's not that you can try everything. There is creative foundation, build a foundation, like. And the consultation sometimes goes through that. I think you do also that with software. There's consulting part on the software development. There's a marketing consulting I do too. And the idea is like why we do consulting is because we are not we don't think that you are not capable to run ads. But before running ads, do you have a system behind, and are you running ads for the right people? Do you running the right content for the right customers? Like, for example, I make example for me. I'm planning to run ads and everything. I'm running ads, but my customers, I know there are wholesale producer of food and beverage. I need to be careful what ads I run because, like, some ads they will not speak to them, and I can make some video that they're not gonna. Yes, I will still have a lot of people coming, but they will not be the one interested that I'm interested on, or they sometimes can be on budget. Same. Yeah. Like if the minimum for work with you is 5K or 10K, you want to be careful of what type of market do, because you might have like 50 calls. That's something that people always sells on these cold emails and stuff. It's like, I can send you 50 calls. I'm like, oh, who? 50 calls of what type of person? Like, you send me 50 calls and only one person can really be things. I'm like, dang, I spend like 80 hours on my life for one person. Can we funnel it in the way that people get to me only once they are actually the right people, the one that are part of the persona or the avatar that I'm looking for?
Right. Yeah. That makes sense.
That's kind of thing, and that's where I think I encourage every company must in the starting to find out is like create an avatar. Ask for. We all speak about you need to have a mentor. Yeah, there is a mentor for personal things, and then there is a mentor for marketing. There is a mentor for, and that's also consultation. You need spend that few. You don't want to have a full marketing package. Spend per hours. Just book a marketing person for 2 hours, but like. Ask that person, like, hey, can you help me build an avatar? And just give me an idea where I should go, which one I should, which people I should aim for, how I should build up things. And sooner or later, you'll find out that actually that takes also a lot of time, a lot of knowledge, and then you're going to get tired and probably you're going to give to someone else. But at least you start to learn.
Actually, something I did learn was when I initially set up the company website, I noticed how slow it was at getting traction on the search engines and getting visitors. And I guess that is one of the things looking back where it would definitely have been beneficial to have someone with expertise on how to boost a platform from the get-go if you don't already have a company that had like other products that got your ranking up. But really from the get-go, how do you jumpstart a company's website? That would have been interesting. Because on the technical side, I had the website, I had everything. And I looked a little bit into search engine optimization as well. I did get a couple of keywords there. But still, one of the things that I learned is if you don't want to go through ads, then you really have to put out content, relevant content and focused content. And I also remember talking to you about that, and that exactly confirmed that, where you said, no, you need to be on topic and not just fish for keywords. So.
Yeah, no, that's great that you pointed out, and then I think it will help other people that want to start. And yes, there is in this world there are pretty much two ways. There is 4 ways to make money. I would say like that you can create a pyramid, and then there's leverage, capital, software and content. You can have a software that people needs.
Yeah.
That will automatically create people coming to buy the software.
Yeah.
You can have capital, means you're gonna ask for money, fundraising, getting capital, run ads. Because ads, they need money to be run.
Right.
They don't work organic. It works like if you have money, you are there. Without money, you are not there. No one sees you. That's how. And then there's leverage. Leverage is how you can actually use optimize your product or your services to reduce your process cost and increase your outcome, your money. And then finally you have the content that you were saying. Like content is right now it's saturated. Like the world is so saturated of content because everyone creates content that you need to be really an expert. You need to be on point. You need to be constant and really pushing out a lot of stuff. Yeah. And I have like a podcast about that, and people can go back. I can like tell them there is actually a parable inside the Bible that there is a situation in the Bible that I used to explain why content is important. And that's the reason is because you have to make noise that's higher than anyone else for people to see you.
Yeah.
Because you have competitors. You are not the only one here. There are other people like you. Then the only way for you to overcome these people is or through capital, and the capital helps you to buy influencer. For example, like Nike did with Jordan.
Right.
I mean, it's like, okay, I pay like someone that's already famous. He has a own brain. He's so strong with that. I just put my logo in there, and then now as long I call my shoes Jordan, like everyone is gonna buy them. And that's through capital. Or like if you don't have capital, then you have to use content, and you have to produce crazy amount of content, like
free content.
Yes. And when I say a good amount of content, it's not 3 for Instagram, for example, TikTok. People think 3 posts a week is gonna be enough. No, you have to. Right now, you have to post 5 to 6 times a week for 6 months before you have really explodes where you are somewhere. And they need to be good. Don't just push a picture there. Because sometimes people are like, oh, okay, cool, I got it, and then just like take a picture of flowers, write in some words, and put there.
Yeah, I'm definitely not there yet. I have maybe a blog post a month, something like that. There's definitely seasons where I put out more content, but I really have this quality drive in me where I'm like, I'm not gonna just post anything out there. If I don't think there's value, I'll keep it to myself.
I see. Well, my advice, try to push at least once a week.
Okay.
If you can do at least that, you were gonna see a lot of difference.
All right. Yeah.
It's gonna be a breakthrough. Like you're gonna.
I mean, I definitely saw it on those platforms where I have the metrics. I think LinkedIn is one of those where I get a little bit more insight. Yeah, as soon as you have a streak where you post more regularly, they'll also boost your content a lot more. So.
They work on that. Like people trying to find the algorithm, and they get too attached to find the small things in the algorithm, or Google is changing the algorithm. Like just, you know what? In the time you spend trying to read all the algorithm and find out how the algorithm works, just write content and keep pushing.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, yeah, my one might not work because it's against the algorithm, but then because you made like a second one, the second one will work. You're gonna move for probability. You're gonna move forward for the same rule of probability. Like if you push a lot, if you have a big number, automatically you're gonna have bigger chance of success.
Yeah.
And it's like for people more techy, they can go study like the rule of the big number, like I think it's called in English.
I don't
for
know.
probability. It's like there is like a thing that is like it's a rule about like when you have like big numbers, how you can increase your probability and stuff like that. I forgot how it's called in English. Anyway, we don't need to go deep in that. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I feel like this been more intense podcast, more like serious somehow podcast.
Okay.
We went more,
I don't know.
we went some technical things. I feel like we spoke of some technical stuff that I think it's really important. One last thing I want to people know is that how many kids you have?
4.
Exactly. Everyone,
My own army.
You can run a business, you can be successful, you can do a really great things and still have a great family and having 4 kids. That's how I think it's important. I really am a pusher of the family values and even big family. I don't care. Like the ideology of you need to be millionaire to have kids. It's like I don't know where this come from. You don't need to be millionaire, but your kids can make you millionaire because you're motivated to do more.
Amen.
When you have more kids.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I also have to say it comes out of a functioning environment. I have an awesome wife that supports me in that as well. And the kids are great. I think that's it goes both ways. One, they are really great kids in the sense that they're easy to handle, but then in the other direction, it also comes from leadership. You need to give them the freedom that they need, and still show them the barriers, and then you have a thriving environment. Not to say that I didn't or don't make mistakes, but I feel like if you have this far sight of where it's going to go, and that is where you're pointing towards, then you can make that work. So, yeah, I definitely want to encourage anyone who is thinking of that as a challenge. There's no way you can find out before you dive in. But if you're willing to dive in, then I'm also convinced that it will be a success.
Amen. Yeah, I love it. That's, yes, don't be afraid. And there is not the right moment to have kids. There is not the right moment to get married. It's just believe, trust God, and start. Even with business, trust God. I mean, listen to God, see where He is, what is the plan for you. But I think like that's the main thing. I like a book I was reading that if you fear God, you're gonna have fear for anything else in your life. If you real fear God, you know. And that's the thing. Like if you real fear God, marriage will not be a fear anymore. Having kids will not be a fear. Start a business will not be a fear, because like if you have God, and God is above anything else, there's nothing gonna scare you for real.
Well, let me insert my favorite scripture here, 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And I think that's exactly where you can bring all of that in. And maybe going back just a little bit to what you said, there is no wrong moment, or don't let me put the words in your mouth, but you said like there's no right moment to get
there's
married.
Not the right moment.
I agree, but I would also say for all those things, family, faith, and business especially, the right moment is when you're ready to commit. And if you are ready to commit, then you can make many, many things happen.
Yeah, it's if you're ready to write a covenant. That's a covenant you're making. Like,
yeah, definitely.
time.
Yeah, and I think also in business, sometimes you have to be willing to get something to end, even if you don't agree on everything with a customer. But if you both agree that the project needs to go in a certain direction, then that's one step to take, and you can go on from there.
I love it. I think like we can go far. We want to kind of like wrap it up, and I think the question I ask always to everyone is, what is something you would tell to people that they're thinking about start the business, or anything that comes to your mind? Like if there is something you want like give to people to motivate them on what they're doing, and is there something coming in your mind and you're like, yes, I want to share this with people. It's the time. I'm giving you the space to do that and to motivate anyone that's listening to us.
Yeah, I would say do it. I mean, if you never started a business, you don't know all the upsides that there are in owning your own business, being able to make all those decisions yourself. If you're a freedom-loving person that kind of likes, especially I think leadership types thrive in this, then don't overthink it. You'll never get it perfect. You just have to start at some point. I can really encourage you to go through it will come with hardship, especially financially. One of the quotes I found looking around at what other consultants did was definitely it's a bit of a feast or famine lifestyle, and I can definitely vouch for that.
Love it. Should put that as a tagline, feast of famine.
But like you said, if you're willing to go through it and willing to endure and willing to push through, then I feel like the freedom is definitely worth it. So. Yeah.
Awesome, man. And I want to thank everyone to listen to our podcast. If you are on YouTube or another one, I really want to thank you. Please leave a comment if you can. And I want to thank Andreas to be handy, to be here with me, to be part of my third episode. It was amazing. I'm looking forward to have you again for explore even more business, faith, and anything else with you. At the same time, I want to remind you that all his information, his website and his LinkedIn will be in the description below. You can go check it out. You can click and get in touch with him. If you're thinking about starting a business that you need some software or you need someone helping you managing the project and find like the right steps to take, I would totally suggest you to get in touch with him. And sending a message doesn't cost you anything, and he is really open to listen to everyone, to speak with everyone, and he can give you like some idea and at least help you understand where you are and where you can go. Thank you again very much, Andy, to be on the podcast. Do you have something else to say? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Giuseppe. It was you've been a great host, and it was a pleasure and honor to be here. Great talk, great topics, and yes, also the audience, don't come to me for marketing stuff, but go straight to my source.
Awesome. Yes, and for people things like we also do development, but we don't do in-house. He is my developer. Like for people that are thinking like, who is the person I use for doing anything that's connected to developing software and everything, I always go to him. Then he's my source, he's the person I trust. I know he can do a great job. Thank you very much again, and have a great day, everyone.
Bye.